Spider Gwen, swings from a cable when she's able.
Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Suddenly you kissed my wife, baby, my heart's on fire.
This is a figure from the Marvel's Legends series, Edge of Spider-Verse, Spider Gwen. Spider Gwen is a breakaway character from a comic book What If series. It is a tale meant to answer the question, what if Gwen Stacy had been bitten by the radioactive spider instead of Peter Parker? And thus we get this. This one is missing the Build-A-Figure piece for the Absorbing Man. I bought it on eBay, your mortal auction trading site, and I did so because I wanted the figure at a decent price, and I didn't really want the Build-A-Figure pieces. So it worked out fairly well for all concerned. On the back of the box it reads, "When radioactive spiders are turned loose in the lab, these scientists obtain web-slinging superpowers." What it should read is, "When radioactive spiders are turned loose in the lab, scientists should flee in terror." As with most Build-A-Figure sets, there are 7 figures that are included with this lot, which can be put together to form the larger figure, the Absorbing Man. But let us remove Marvel's Spider Gwen from her box and review her properly. And here is the coveted Spider Gwen figure out of her package. Most of the figures from the Marvel Legends series make use of the same manufacturing base, and as such, most of the female figures look identical, except for the paint applications. And in this case, the paint applications are top-notch. The figure's costume appearance looks excellent, and there's something about the hood that just works. A white upper body, a vague spider design on the front and back, as well as spider lines at the hips. Outside of that, her outfit is almost completely black, a fact of which I quite approve. The hood piece is made of softer, more flexible plastic, which means that it may be vulnerable to tearing and scraping and with repeated use and play. The paint applications at the edge of the hood on the figure seem a bit ragged and uneven, and there are some parts inside the hood section that seem to have splattered. If you are patient with a brush and have matching paints, you can do some touching up to the figure to cover up those manufacturing imperfections. The plastic on the figure itself is slightly flexible, which means that it may be prone to long-term wear or breakage, especially around the smaller joints like at the elbows or at the wrist. I have found with some figures such as this, you should loosen it and rotate it slightly until it feels loose, so that way you do not risk forcing it and breaking any of the joints. For articulation, the Spider Gwen figure will tilt forwards and backwards at the head on a joint and also rotate from side to side. Care should be taken with the hood piece, which is not actually attached to the head, so that you do not wind up scraping it too heavily against the headpiece when rotating. There is a swiveled elbow with a rotating joint which will rotate up and down and 360 degrees in its socket. The elbow will rotate 360 degrees and also swivel on a hinge. The wrist will also rotate 360 degrees in its socket and has a hinge joint so that you may tilt it in and out. The articulation for the figure disappoints with the waist because there is no waist rotation, although there is an upper body joint which will allow for 360-degree rotation. However, the tilting aspect of this joint is extremely limited. You can tilt her back slightly so that her back appears to be arched, but it will not tilt forward. This means that the Spider Gwen figure has been robbed of an important ability, the ability to hunch over so that it may form a crouching pose, which is one of the more iconic poses for any spider figure. Spider Gwen has the standard hinged hips, also a thigh rotation, a double-jointed knee. It also includes a shin rotation for extra posability. It will also tilt at the foot, both forwards and backwards, and it also includes a slight pivot which will allow the foot to tilt slightly from side to side. The brass ring for any figure of the Spider-Man line or series is to have a figure that can do a decent crouching pose, and sadly, this figure isn't it. So despite the fact that you can get some excellent poses out of it, you can't get the poses that you really want, and you may interpret that any way you like. Perverts. Beyond the missing Absorbing Man Build-A-Figure piece, the Spider Gwen figure comes with two other accessories, namely a vapid-looking Gwen Stacy head with the iconic black headband, and a thrown-back hood piece, which is meant to go with the Gwen Stacy head. In order to make use of these accessories, you must first rip off the head of the Spider Gwen figure. Ha 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 ha. Ah, that never gets old. Take the thrown back hood section and put it over the neck nub, and then squeeze the Gwen Stacy head on in its place. And once that has been done, you have Spider Gwen revealing her not-so-secret identity. If you want to have a secret identity, then don't include your first real name as part of your superhero name, Spider Gwen. But the Gwen Stacy head with the hood thrown back looks fairly decent. She has a sort of vacant plastic expression, which is only fitting since her head is made of plastic. It will rotate 360 degrees on the ball socket joint and tilt forwards and backwards. The flexible hood piece is not compatible with the blonde Gwen Stacy head. However, if you are disposed towards mixing and matching, you can leave the thrown back hood piece in place and replace the regular Spider Gwen head. Very chic, very feminine. For size comparison, here is Spider Gwen next to black costume Spectacular Spider-Man. Here is Spider Gwen next to Transformers animated Oil Slick. And here is Spider Gwen next to Team Fortress 2's Heavy Weapons Guy. In summary, the figure looks super cool, but it is not as posable and playable as it could be due to the cookie-cutter manufacturing limitations of the Marvel Legends line. This line reuses the same molding features for nearly every figure, with only some minor variations in the accessories. They should do specific articulation for the Spider-Man figures so that they can do their more iconic poses, due only to the weaknesses in articulation. I give Spider Gwen 7 out of 10 deaths. But at least Spider Gwen will look awesome while she is fighting bad guys in the hood. Get it? The hood? Because she's wearing a hood and because criminals hang out in the hood and the thing with oh, forget it.
If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. Then you'll be left alone, oh baby. Tell more and tell me I'm your own.